What's happening, everybody? Kofi Comics here. Hope everyone's well and good. It's good to see everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025 and all that stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Had a good Merry Christmas. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, welcome back. Anyway, let's get on with the video. I've been gone for about a minute, so it's just been one of those things where real life has hit me up. And now I just want to get myself rolling again. Just to give everyone a bit of an update about what's happening in 2025. I plan to do a bit more videos to get my comic book ideas more out and rolling for people to see. As you can see, I've released episode 5 of my motion comic book Shape. I've got 1 to 5 up on there. It took some time to create, but please go check it out. Tell me what you think. Send me a comment. Don't care if it's bad or good. Subscribe and all that stuff. And the plan is for you to see more and more. I've got 2 more episodes to release for you to see. And then that'll be the first season of my comic book, my motion comic book, released. My UK comic book, Shape. Okay, anyway. So one of the things I'll be planning on doing is getting more involved with some of these stories that we tend to hear from time to time. Like the most recent one that happened just at the end of last year with this whole thing about black people being represented in Japanese anime and manga. Here's my take on it. I don't give a monkeys about it. I don't care about being represented. I don't care if you never see a black person in a Japanese anime or a manga. I don't see why we need to get so involved. It's one of those things where I don't see why people care so much. Think about it. Why do you want to be involved in a Japanese manga or an anime? Why can't you just create your own stuff? The Japanese themselves, they don't tend to care about being focused in our comic books, in our stories, in our cartoons. They don't care. They got their own stuff going on. Why is it so important that black people need to be so involved with the Japanese? They're great at what they do, don't get me wrong. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. But why is it such a concern for black people to be so involved? I was once a child and I understood. I was there at one point. I thought, oh, you know what? I'd love to see more of myself involved in these black representations of animes and everything. But then I grew up because you know why? Because I got the idea of creating my own stuff. To be honest, I would rather see myself in my own production than I would be in having to see myself in someone else's. Because really and truly, I would rather create my own story than watch somebody else's story. The great thing about creating your own story is the imagination, the story building, the world building, creating the characters, having to see the whole story through from start to finish. I mean, I think that's amazing. Having to just create your own story and then you're seeing it, boom, out in the flesh, for all to see. That's why I created Shape. That's why I love the fact I'm enjoying myself creating this motion comic. It takes its time, it's daunting, it can be a bit boring and annoying at times, but once you've actually got the either the episode or the page or whatever you're doing actually finished, then you can sit back, look at it and go, yeah, that's nice, I like that, I'm enjoying that. And that's how it should be. When you look at how the guy who created Boondocks, they done it, that guy, whoever's name, Aaron Magugu, whoever, he went and done it, and he done it really well. There isn't one person that doesn't like the Boondocks. Sorry, let me phrase it. There isn't one black person, who doesn't like the Boondocks. They look it, they watch it, they've enjoyed it, they laughed and had fun with it. The problem it seems to be with black people is exactly what's going on in the Boondocks. They're having these Negro moments where they think it's everybody else's fault instead of themselves, instead of looking at themselves. It's very easy, right? Again, He took what he liked about the manga and the Japanese style and everything and turned it into his own thing and created the Boondocks. He didn't care about having to be represented. And if he did, he done it with Boondocks. He didn't think, oh, I want Mad Company to do this and I want that Japanese company to do that for me. He just went and done it himself. And that's how we should see things. If you want to be represented, do it yourself. That's what every other race has done. I don't see why we can't do it ourselves. It makes sense. It only makes sense. There ain't no Japanese person looking at American TV and saying, oh, I want to be involved with that. No, they're not saying that. They're not saying that. They're not saying they want to be a Simpsons character. They're not saying they want to be in any of our Marvel comics and stuff like that. No, they're not. They just go and create their own comic books. And that's why I don't seem to understand. We could do the same thing. As black people, I don't know why we don't think we don't have ideas. Because we're so focused, actually I do know, it's because we've been so focused on the luxury of being successful, but not actually the journey of being successful. The journey is a lot different compared to the success. And that's why it's terrible when you're looking at people like these rappers out today, all the luxury, all the money, all the women and the cars. That's a bad way to understand what success truly is, because it's not what you think. And if you do know what it's about, then you know it's not a good thing with some of the things that some of these people have done. You know, there are ways of having to be successful without having to do some of the naughty things that you see out there in today's world. It's just that as black people, we've got to learn to see it for ourselves. We've got to learn to see the treasure, you know, the treasure in the things that we want to create. That's why I'm saying create your own stuff. You appreciate more of the things you do on your own than you do that you see other people do for you, you know? That's why I'm like, I don't care if I'm not in a Japanese anime. I couldn't give a monkey's. Honestly, could not care. Why would I need to care, you know? I mean, really and truly, I love the fact of creating my own story. I'm at that point now where I can now involve other people with their characters in my story. Anyone has a character? Let me know. All right, and I'll put your character into my story. You know, very simple. I think people should just let go of anime and manga. Honestly, let go of this anime and manga stuff. Stop trying to be somebody else. Just focus on being yourself. Create a new word for manga. And don't give it that man and then another name to it. Just give it a completely different name. Gosh, with the Japanese manga stuff, let it go. Honestly, please, people, please. Gosh, the Japanese didn't do it, so why are we doing it? It's not give it a new word to it. Give it an African word. Yeah, I don't know. Give it something, but don't call it a manga. Don't call it an anime. Don't do any of that stuff. Because again, are we seeing you or are we seeing the Japanese and what they do? Are you a copy and paster or are you a new inventor? Make up your mind and all that stuff. That's what you need to be taking things on board and just seeing it that, you need to start something fresh. The problem with creating a Japanese or a manga is that it's nothing new. It's what everybody else is doing. So why would you copy? If you want your stuff to stand out, you got to give it something new. I know they say everything's been done, blah, blah, blah. Yes, everything has been done. But give me a new word. Don't call it a manga. Don't call it an anime. Give it a new name. I don't care what you call it, but give it something new. Because if you're just going to say it's a Japanese manga or it's a Japanese anime, then I'm sorry, that's just so boring. It really is. It's the same old stuff. Everyone's doing it. It's not working out. Who's really, who's actually created something that people can go, wow, it's actually making money, or it's really amazing. No one's done it. Why? Because the Japanese do it best. Because no matter how much indie Japanese stuff that we tend to create, you can't beat the Japanese themselves. So go back to your cave or your room and create your own stuff. Like I said, my stuff that I've created, it's not an anime, it's not a manga, it's nothing like that. It's a motion comic book. That's what I called it. I've called it a UK, United Kingdom motion comic book because I'm from Britain. I'm a Londoner. That's what it is. That's what I've made. And that's what it's going to be. Very simple. If anyone asks or wondering what I've created a UK motion comic book. That's what I've created. Now, what have you created? Because I would love to see someone do something fresh, do something new, create something that, no one's seen or heard, or no one tends to do as often. Because really and truly, black people themselves, they think we don't, we think we don't have the ideas. We do have the ideas, but we've got to put them on paper. We've got to do it. Now, I'm not really that type of person to be caring about what black people do. I'm a Christian, so I ain't got time for all that nonsense about race. I don't give a monkeys about race. I don't give a monkeys about color. I really don't. But this whole narrative that black people don't feel represented, who cares?